It's really been a wild morning and a mishmash of numbers, and some of them are pretty much in line with what we were expecting. So that 10% baseline, not 15, as sort of has been bandied about the past few weeks, and then the highest rates being around 41%. Still, of course, a lot of questions about China, for example, some of the larger economies as well, that are on sort of a different track than this reciprocal levy. So that would be Canada, Mexico, as well as China. So we still don't have the final levels on that. But overall, this takes the average U.S. tariff rate to about 15.2%, which is the highest since World War II period, as well as significantly higher than the roughly 2% it was at before Trump came back for a second term in 2025. And the countries run the gamut. There were small economies, some large economies as well, of course. Some of them we knew, 25% for India, 15% for South Korea and Japan. But there were some puzzling ones as well, like Laos getting hit and Myanmar, Burma getting hit with some sort of the higher level, so closer to 40% levies. So these are all sort of the final numbers, at least for now, that we have. And some of these countries, of course, are going to keep negotiating, which has been the style so far this year.
Well, speaking of which, Canada's been hit with a 35% levy, Katia, but Donald Trump's saying that he's going to talk to Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney.
Yeah, it's a big question. I mean, this has been one of those trade deals that have been perhaps the most contentious, with the leaders going back and forth, first with Trudeau, now with Carney. And the country just reported second quarter GDP growth that was actually quite positive. So this poses quite a substantial risk. The two leaders will continue negotiations, and this kind of shows how these rates are not necessarily final. So yes, markets do have a bit more certainty now that we have a level that's been published from the April 2nd levels. Some of them are a bit better than those levels. Some of them are a bit worse, like Switzerland, for example, got hammered. But for Canada, for example, this is one of those that will likely continue because they also have the USMCA. So they need to have Mexico at the table as well. So we'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, let me just bring you some breaking lines from Switzerland. The Swiss government noting that 35% tariff with regret. They say that they're still seeking a negotiated solution with the US when it comes to trade, but that tariff differs significantly from the draft, they say. So Switzerland hit with these tariffs, but Mexico, Katia, getting a 90-day reprieve. How come?
Yeah, Brazil also got a reprieve, we heard earlier this week, and as well as exemptions on some of its goods. And it goes to show just how important these trade ties are for the U.S. economy and for U.S. consumers. Because at the end of the day, what happens with inflation, what happens with prices, with households, as well as with companies that rely on components as well as finished products, like autos would be a big one from Mexico. There's also significant pharmaceuticals coming from countries like India. And so having that reprieve would just allow for more time to negotiate. And so perhaps this is sort of what Trump has really been doing, which is announcements, negotiation, another announcement, a bit more negotiation. So we're seeing a bit more of that, the goalpost moving forward just a little bit. So, we'll probably be talking about this again on Monday with some more announcements to come.